What is going on with the way men are talking to women these days?
Oh, it's the red pill content, and it's now so officially widespread and unavoidable that whilst it was originally aimed at people in like their 20s and high school, middle school years, it's reached people in their 30s and 40s, and I want to talk about it today because I've started to notice it too. Although in fairness, it really started to pick up and gain traction around like 10 years ago, so males in their 20s are now in their 30s and approaching their 40s, and this is how you ruin entire generations and spans of males and dating for everyone. And if you're not familiar with red pill content, it's a lot of things now, but originally started as like male, like gym bro influencers trying to like teach beta males how to get women, but they would teach them all the wrong things so that they never actually got women and they would be continually reliant on their channels and they made money forever. But a huge problem with that, besides the fact that men are literally just keeping each other down, is that women also have to deal with the outcomes of this because it's teaching them to treat women like garbage, and apparently that's how you get girls, which obviously never works. And it became so prevalent that I literally gave up on dating a few years ago because it was so irritating to deal with such horrible little men. And it's literally so unbelievably wild when you see it in person. About a year and a half ago or so, a friend of mine and I were at a bar somewhere and we ran into this group of guys and we got to talking and kind of hit it off. And it was like a large group, and they were like, oh, a bunch of us are gonna go back and like chill at the apartment and like listen to music, maybe watch the movies if you guys wanna come hang out. And it was a large group, and we're like, sure, that sounds fun, like an after party function. And so the moment we leave and we start like walking back to their apartment, which is a few blocks away, these men start being like weirdly passive aggressively rude to us, just openly, like blatantly to our faces. Like backhanded comments, subtle negging, all this is very like day one introductory to red pill content, right? Neg women and put them down. So literally red flags left and right till it gets to the point where we're like halfway to their apartment and I turn to my friend, I like take her aside and I'm like, hey, what is going on here? And she's like, I don't know, but this is weird. Like, why are they suddenly such a-holes? And we both agree, like, we feel like we've committed to this. We're almost to the apartment, but if things don't turn around the second we get there, like, we're out because this is horrible. What is wrong with these men? So we finally get to the apartment where they said one of them lives, but then like a bunch of the other guys are just visiting in town, which is why there's blow-up air mattresses everywhere. But right away, the whole place is decorated like an Airbnb, and the vibes feel very hotel-ish. And my friend picks up on this right away too, and we pull each other into the bathroom where, again, it looks like bathroom essentials at an Airbnb, and we're like, do they even live here? Like, are they lying about even living here? I don't know what's going on. This whole thing is weird. Like, the vibes are weird. We gotta get out of here. But we go back into the kitchen, and I think there's like 6 men or so that were there total, and 5 of them, roughly, all of them except for the one guy talking to us, essentially, are just like sitting down on their phones, like locked in, as if we're not even there. And we're looking at each other like, what are we even doing here? Because there's only one guy still talking to us, and he's just being openly rude to us. And it got to a point where even I wasn't trying to fight back anymore because I just didn't care. And you know that that's a bad sign when I've stopped fighting a man. And at no point would any of them give us a straight answer for whether or not that was an Airbnb they were staying at, which was like super weird. But at a certain point in being like ignored by these men in their own home, we were both kind of like, hey, so what's the move? Like, what are we doing here? Because they had promised us like that there would be food and stuff back at the place. Like, are we ordering pizzas? And they literally looked back at us and they went, I don't know, what are you doing here? I don't know what we're doing here, actually. I turned to my friend was like, yeah, what are we doing here? Like, yeah, why'd you invite us back here, man? And so I turned to my friend and I was like, well, I was promised food, so I'm gonna be eating all these chips and then we can bounce. But then after having to be around these men for like 60 seconds more, I was like, you know what? Bags of chips are mobile. So I just grabbed the bag of chips off the table and I was like, let's go. And she was like, please and thank you. And we head for the door. And we just announced like, hey, we're gonna go because you guys are all horrible. Goodbye. And we just left. And that's how we left it. And like, I'm not stupid. I recognize that a lot of like the tactics and things that they were playing were taught to them by these like red pill channel influencers. Like, I've seen this before. But the funniest part is that they didn't have like any sort of a follow-up plan because it's literally never worked before. They don't teach you what to do when the women are finally back at your apartment because they don't expect you to ever get any. And funny enough, I think the only reason we ended up back at the apartment is because one of the boys who like got awkward and anxious and sat on his phone once we got to the apartment was really nice to me when we were at the bar, and I wanted to talk to him more. The other man was unfortunately just someone we had to deal with, but let that be the true lesson. We were actually there for the cute, sweet, quiet one. It was the loud, rude one that scared us away in the end.